Hi, Kaustav. Thank you for sending your questions. I grew up in a town called Carroll Stream, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago, and had a very normal upbringing, almost too normal. I grew up playing sports my whole life. I never acted when I was a kid. It was always baseball, skateboarding, and then when I got into high school, gymnastics, and that's what led to my interest in stunts. I always was fascinated. I remember being in high school and seeing theater productions that my high school would put on, and always being fascinated with that and enthralled by the idea of performing on stage in front of a lot of people. But I was so focused on athletics that I never got into acting until halfway through college. I went to the University of Illinois, which is about 2.5 hours south of Chicago, in the middle of a giant state full of corn. And I was studying psychology, and I remember taking my first acting class my sophomore year, second half of my second year of college. And I really liked it. I didn't fall in love with it right away, but I thought it was really fun. And then I took another class, and by that point I was supposed to pick a major, and psychology wasn't really, I wasn't in love with it. And I wasn't yet in love with acting, but I said, well, I have to choose what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, and I like acting more than anything else right now, so let's do that. So I decided to go full bore on that and take every acting class in college that they would allow me to take, while still working towards my degree in psychology. And that's what I ended up getting my degree in, was psychology, which is very useful as an actor. And when I got out of college, I had previously had surgeries. I was a competitive gymnast in high school, and I had some surgeries. My body kind of, the work caught up with me, and I had some joints fixed and everything. And by the time I graduated, I was feeling really good. So I pursued acting and stunts at the same time, and I thought, well, they can definitely help each other. And that's exactly what has happened. A lot of the acting roles, in fact, most of the acting roles I've ever had in the last 21 years have been a result of the fact that I do stunts as well. And Ironman was no exception. I remember I called the stunt coordinator. I had heard that the stunt coordinator was looking for performers to be in the Ironman suit. So I called him up. I had worked for him on a movie called Old School, and I was in the mascot costume, tumbling on the basketball court. And so I called him up, and he said, well, I've already filled those spots, but I'll keep you in mind for other things. A couple weeks later, he called me to come in and audition for the role of Jimmy in Iron Man, and I ended up booking that, and it was a great experience because of who I was working with and how good people like Robert Downey and Jon Favreau are at their jobs. And they're not only great at their jobs, they're really fun to work with. Robert was as professional as I've ever seen anybody, and hardworking as well. So we were doing first unit and second unit simultaneously. The acting bits inside the Humvee were on first unit, and then it was time to blow stuff up and go to stunts. That was on second unit, which was in the same desert, in very close proximity. So the whole day was back and forth, first unit to second unit. And what was interesting about that scene was there were never two takes that were the same. We had the script, sort of. I don't really remember looking at the pages. But we had the script, and then after every take, Jon Favreau would come over to the Humvee and redirect. And any idea, what's great about Jon is, I think what makes him a great director is he's a great audience. He really appreciates fun moments, and so that seems to me that what he leans towards is creating fun or poignant or funny moments. And the whole peace sign thing, and then Robert's line, "No gang signs, please." That wasn't in the script. That came straight out of John's head on the day. He apparently had the idea. He came back and he told us, throw up a peace sign, tell him no gang signs, and that stuck. And so it was really fun shooting. It was a long day, but what kept it interesting was every single take was different, and that kept it fun. And I could see at the end of the day, Robert was mentally exhausted, and I could see it on his face. He kind of had he was zoned out, but he was still plugging away, and I really admired that, and I appreciated getting the chance to be a part of that scene because of that. And also, what a great bonus that it turned out to be a monumental movie as far as starting Marvel Studios, and in general just being a great movie. So I feel very lucky to have been part of it because of that. Some of the other movies I've been lucky enough to be a part of, Jurassic World. I was the gunner on the helicopter. And the cool thing about that is I got eaten by a dinosaur, and when does that happen? So that was fun. And Drag Me to Hell was another one. I played Milos in Drag Me to Hell and got bitten by a goat and possessed by a demon, which was fun. And it was also a pleasure to work with Sam Raimi because he's such an actor's director that he really takes time to hone in on the subtle moments and really bring those out and capture those. And it was reminiscent of theater as far as the focus on the acting and the moments. One of my favorite ones was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I did the stunts for the Mr. Hyde character, and that was a really difficult, involved job. That it was a very heavy suit. It was very uncomfortable, very long days, but really rewarding. And we were in Prague for 3.5 months, and I gotta think, one of the most amazing cities in the world. Coming from Carroll Stream, Illinois, I'd never been anywhere near that old before, and just to have that be where I walk every day, a place that is well older than our entire country, was amazing, and the people there were great too. And one of the recent ones is I got to work on the Jay and Silent Bob reboot that Kevin Smith did. And he had an idea that he said when he was making Mallrats 2 for an Iron Bob costume. And I was really stoked to be able to be the performer in the Iron Bob costume. And Kevin didn't even know until after we had shot the scene that I was in Iron Man. So he was in, that's his world, the comic world and the movie world combined. And he was just stoked to hear about the Iron Man experience as well. As far as roles that I would like to do, I don't so much think about the type of role I would want to do or something that I think I could do well. I like challenges, so things that are different than me are great. But what I think about more is who I'd like to work with, and at the top of the list is Robert Zemeckis, because I love his movies. I admire the work he does because there's not so much an obvious Zemeckis signature on the work that he does. He does so many different things. Castaway, Contact, Back to the Future, What Lies Beneath. These are all movies of different genres, and the stories are all told really, really well. So he's the one that I look to when I want to learn more than anyone else. I also love to work with Ron Howard and Clint Eastwood are really high on the list there for people that I would just consider it a pleasure to have the experience of being on set with. Steven Spielberg too. There's so much brilliance in the movies those people make that I think it would just be non-stop soaking up knowledge every day you're on set. That's all about me. Thank you again for your questions, and I wish you well in general and in the COVID quarantine. Hope you get through it safe. Bye.